In the early 19th century, deep in the untamed wilderness of Tennessee, a darkness descended upon a family that would echo through history. It is not a war, nor a plague, nor a beast of the forest that brought terror to the doorstep of the Bell household. It was something unseen, something unnatural, a force that defied explanation and left scars on the souls of those who endured it. From 1817 to 1821, the Bell family faced a relentless poltergeist, a malevolent entity that scratched at their sanity, struck their bodies, and whispered prophecies of doom. Known as the Bell Witch, this phenomenon became America's most infamous haunting, a tale of fear and fascination that lingers still. What was this force? A spirit, a demon, a trick of the mind? The truth remains buried in the shadows of the past, but the story begins on a quiet farm in Robertson County, Tennessee. The Bell family arrived in the Red River Valley around 1804, seeking a new life in the frontier. John Bell, a prosperous farmer from North Carolina, led his wife Lucy and the 9 children to this fertile land. They built a sturdy log cabin, cleared fields, and joined a tight-knit Baptist community. By 1817, the Bells were respected, their farm thriving under the endless Tennessee sky. John was a church elder, Lucy a pillar of kindness, and the children, especially young Betsy, aged 12, were known for their vitality. Life seemed blessed, but beneath the surface, something stirred. The land, once home to Native American tribes, held secrets older than the settlers' dreams. Whispers of strange happenings, lights in the woods, shadows without owners, floated among the locals. The Bells paid no mind. That is, until the disturbances began. It started subtly, in the late summer of 1817. At night, the family heard faint noises outside the cabin, scratching sounds like claws raking the wooden walls. John Bell, practical and unafraid, searched the property with his musket, expecting a wolf or a thief. He found nothing. The noises persisted, growing bolder. Knocking echoed from the doors and windows, sharp and deliberate, as if demanding entry. Inside, the family huddled by candlelight, their prayers drowned out by the relentless tapping. Rats, they thought, or perhaps the wind. But no traps caught vermin, and no storm explained the rhythm of the sounds. The Bells kept their fears private, hoping the disturbances would fade. They did not. By winter, the phenomenon escalated. The noises moved inside the cabin. Floorboards creaked under invisible steps. Chains rattled in the attic, though none were stored there. The children woke to their blankets, yanked to the floor, their gasps filling the darkness. Betsy, the youngest daughter, suffered most. Her bed shook violently, as if seized by unseen hands. Her screams brought the family running, but they found no intruder, only Betsy trembling, her face pale with terror. John and Lucy, desperate for answers, inspected every corner of the house. No explanation emerged. The family's faith, once a shield, began to waver. They turned to the neighbors, hoping shared wisdom might unravel the mystery. Word of the disturbances spread to the Red River community. Skeptics scoffed, blaming overactive imaginations or pranksters. Others, steeped in folklore, spoke of spirits angered by the settlers' presence. A few brave souls visited the Bell farm to witness the phenomenon. They were not disappointed. One night, a guest felt a sharp slap across his face as he sat by the fire. No one was near him. Another heard whispers in the room, mocking his disbelief. The entity, whatever it was, seemed to thrive on attention, its antics growing bolder with each visitor. It was no longer content to lurk in the shadows. It wanted to be known. By 1818, the entity revealed a new power. Speech. Disembodied voices filled the cabin, sometimes soft as a whisper, sometimes sharp as a blade. The voices were varied: male, female, old, young, but all carried an unnatural edge, as if filtered through a veil between worlds. They taunted the family, calling them by name, reciting their private thoughts. Betsy, still the primary target, endured cruel insults. The voice mocked her appearance, her fears, her every step. It sang hymns in a twisted parody of the family's faith, or recited scripture with chilling precision. Once, it preached an entire sermon, its words flawless, but its tone dripping with malice. The bells, devout Baptists were shaken. This was no mere ghost story. It was a violation of their sanctity. The entity's intelligence was undeniable. It knew things no stranger could: details of the family's past, secrets buried deep. It predicted small events: a neighbor's illness, a storm's arrival, a lost item's location. Each prophecy, fulfilled with eerie accuracy, deepened the family's dread. The voice claimed to be many things: a spirit of a wronged woman, a demon from hell, a force older than time. Most often it called itself Kate, though no one knew why. Some speculated it was Kate Batts, a local eccentric with a grudge against John Bell, but no evidence linked her to the haunting. The name Kate became a curse in the Bell household, a shorthand for fear. The physical attacks intensified. Betsy was slapped, pinched, and scratched, her skin marked with welts that appeared before witnesses' eyes. Her hair was pulled, her body dragged across the floor. The entity seemed to delight in her suffering, its laughter echoing through the cabin. John Bell, once a pillar of strength, began to weaken. He complained of a strange illness. His tongue swelled, his jaw seized, as if gripped by an invisible vice. Doctors found no cause. The family suspected the entity's hand, but they could do nothing. Lucy, the matriarch, held the family together, her kindness a beacon in the darkness. Yet, even she could not shield her children from the terror. The Bell Witch, as the locals now called it, drew crowds. Farmers, preachers, and skeptics flocked to the farm, eager to confront the unseen force. Some brought guns, others Bibles, but none could stop it. The entity reveled in their attention, performing for its audience. It mimicked animal sounds, quoted distant conversations, and debated theology with visiting ministers. One night, it recited 2 sermons simultaneously, delivered by preachers miles apart, word for word. Such displays baffled even the most learned guests. General Andrew Jackson, the future president, reportedly visited the farm, drawn by tales of the supernatural. His wagon broke down before reaching the property, and a voice mocked his arrival. Jackson, unnerved, left without comment, though accounts of his visit remained debated. The entity's power seemed boundless. Yet, it was not without limits. It rarely ventured far from the Bell property, and its wrath focused on the family, particularly Betsy and John. Some neighbors whispered that John had sinned. Perhaps a hidden crime had invited this curse. Others believed Betsy, now a teenager, was the key. Her youth, her sensitivity, might have drawn the entity, or worse, fueled it. Theories abounded, but proof was scarce. The family tried everything: prayers, exorcisms, charms from local healers. Nothing worked. The entity mocked their efforts. its laughter a constant reminder of its dominance. In 1820, the haunting reached its darkest chapter. John Bell's health deteriorated rapidly. He staggered through the fields, clutching his face as if struck. His speech slurred, his body trembled. On December 20th, 1820, he was found dead in his bed, a vial of strange liquid nearby. Doctors could not identify it. The entity claimed responsibility, boasting of poisoning him. Its voice sang gleefully at his funeral, a final insult to the grieving family. John's death marked a turning point. The entity's attacks on Betsy lessened, as if its purpose had been fulfilled. By 1821, the disturbances faded. The voice grew silent. The violence ceased. The Bell Witch, it seemed, had departed. But had it? The entity had promised to return. In 1828, it briefly reappeared, speaking to John Bell Jr. and predicting future events, including wars and societal shifts. Then it vanished again. The Bell family, scarred but resilient, moved on. Betsy married and left Tennessee, seeking peace. The farm changed hands, but the legend endured. A cave near the property, said to be a haunt of the entity, became a site of pilgrimage. Locals reported strange lights, whispers, and an oppressive presence within its depths. The Bell Witch had become more than a haunting. It was a myth, a warning, a riddle. What was the Bell Witch? Historians, skeptics, and believers have debated for centuries. Some argue it was a hoax, orchestrated by Betsy or a cunning neighbor. Yet the number of witnesses, dozens, including respected figures, challenges this theory. Others propose psychological causes, mass hysteria perhaps, or Betsy's trauma manifesting as poltergeist activity. Parapsychologists point to poltergeists' ties to young girls under stress, but no records confirm Betsy's distress before the haunting. Supernatural explanations persist. A vengeful spirit, a demon, or a force tied to the land itself. Native American burial grounds nearby fuel speculation of a disturbed spirit, though no evidence supports this. The truth eludes us, as it did the Bells. The Bell Witch remains America's greatest ghost story, its details preserved in accounts like An Authenticated History of the Bell Witch by Martin Van Buren Ingram, published in 1894. Though criticized for embellishments, it draws from family records and eyewitness testimonies. Modern investigations, paranormal researchers, historians, even filmmakers have kept the legend alive. The Bell Witch Cave, now a tourist site, draws thousands, each hoping to glimpse the unseen. Reports of odd sounds and sensations persist, though none matched the intensity of 1817 to 1821. The story endures because it speaks to universal fears, the unknown, the powerless, the violation of home. The Bells were ordinary people, their lives upended by a force they could not fight. Their suffering, witnessed by a community, feels real, even across centuries. With the spirit, trick, or madness, the Bell Witch left a mark on Tennessee's soul. It reminds us that some mysteries resist answers, lurking just beyond the light of reason. In the quiet of Robertson County, where the Red River flows, the echo of that terror lingers, waiting for those who dare to listen.